product that I didn't think was safe enough for my family, but I would sell, like, we would never do that. We actually did,
more or less breaking the stereotypes.
To watching people of color, that almost was the thoughts and prayers image. And so the thoughts.
What's up, guys? This is Musa. I hope you guys have been doing great. We have an amazing team here, MyMovingParts. We have beautiful Rebecca and Rob. A lot of things to know, the way they print and handcraft the t-shirts, and a couple of more things. Very curious to know about the whole process and the designs and the things they go through while making these beautiful things for you guys. So I would let Rebecca and Rob to talk about what is it that actually makes your business so special.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for interviewing us, and welcome to our humble little studio. What our goal is to create affordable and wearable art and prints with intention. And so what I mean by intention is that we're actually trying to say something very deliberate and specific about different issues. Kind of what got us started is that my spouse, Rob Mirsky, is a brilliant illustrator, and you can be a fantastic artist, but unless you create something with art on it, it's really hard, especially right now in Toronto, to make money off of it. So what I saw was like this incredible man who was creating so much stuff, and I was like, if we put that art onto things as simple as t-shirts or tote bags or sweatshirts or tea towels or all these things, we can turn it into a business. We can do something. And I think there's a niche market full of weirdos out there like us who would kind of enjoy what we're doing. One of the first images that Rob drew that I thought was just, it couldn't be ignored, was the thoughts and prayers image. And so the thoughts and prayers image is probably what really kind of set us on fire. And I believe I am a spiritual and energetic person. I think that's important, but I think policy change is significantly more important if you want to see actual change in institutions and in society.
Right.
Right. So the thoughts and prayer shirt and the image really spoke to that. And so that was the first shirt we made. And when we made it, it kind of took off right away. And I realized we had something there. That was
something where you guys actually moved in together and you thought this is going to be a special thing for us. And we're going to use our time and, energy and make it so special so that we can actually do something with the talent we guys have.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and this was the other thing. I've only been printing for about 3 years. So I saw this person who was literally just pouring out brilliant artwork. So I had to figure out, I went through all sorts of different processes of trying to learn how to print, avoiding silk screening, which is what I'm doing because it is such a lengthy process and it requires so much like literal equipment and I had no idea what I was doing. So a lot of how I learned, I took a course, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't have a particularly great experience. And I had a mentor, and they were fantastic, and they still kind of guide me. And then a lot of how I learned what to do was trial and error and failure. You learn the most from your failures.
So it's more or less you learned by doing the things rather than just, thinking about the whole thing multiple times.
Exactly, 100%. It was a make or break situation. Either you figured out how to do it or you stopped doing it. So it's some screens you have to shoot 3 or 4 times before you get them right until you learn the formula. Now it's much easier in the beginning.
There are a number of times that you may come up with 10 designs, but then you choose only one because that is something which people actually see rather than the 9 which are actually, in the background, but you didn't even use them.
Yes, 100%. And I think that that's a big part of what we do is the process in which we come up with the ideas for shirts is and this is very specific to us, we are not interested in selling shirts just for the sake of selling shirts. Making t-shirts and selling t-shirts right now is not hard. You could, and this is a big trend and I'm not putting it down and I think it's great, but like you could put one of those sweet little smiley faces on a piece of sushi or anything and make it adorable and sell a shirt. That's not our intention. Our intention is that we want to say something about something. Everything that we do is very deliberate. So there's been lots of shirts that we've conceptualized in our heads and then we didn't execute them because it didn't fall in line with with our actual agenda, with what we were trying to do.
So it's more than a shirt or something like that, because even if you choose a little bit of text which goes onto the shirt, right, or let it be a smiley thing, it's something where you put in your thoughts and your time and you create the piece which actually is more than a shirt for the customers.
Absolutely. Well, and this is so a lot of the shirts that we make are, like I said, very politically driven. If we made the binary shirt, which speaks about issues I have with the gender binary and the ideas of, you know, one gender is supposed to behave one way and one gender is supposed to be the other way. But when we executed the shirt, we very specifically chose like the green ink and that computer text almost from the 80s that you saw to kind of replicate the original computer binary that we're kind of playing off of each other. So, and we have
It's more or less breaking the stereotypes.
Yes, well, this is exactly it. And we speak to stuff like that. And one other shirt that I'll speak about, we made a shirt that it says, "A few bad apples murder the innocent." And on it's a bowl of apples, and on the bowl of apples, a badge. And this kind of came out of our strong and visceral emotional reaction to watching people of color continue all like, and this isn't just happening in the States, it's happening in Canada to Indigenous cultures as well, or Indigenous people, and we were just on fire about it. So we had this opportunity to make the shirt, and 100% of the profits of that shirt, it's dynamic, the charity moves around. So right now it's going to the Black Health Alliance in Toronto, before it's gone to help a variety of other charities of people who are affected by this. So we are very politically driven, and that shirt is meaningful to us because that's a way for us to literally donate 100% of our time and 100% of our profits for issues that really matter to us. But on the flip side, we also don't take it super seriously. Like, we have shirts, some of it is wearable art as well. Like, so we take some things very seriously, and some shirts we have, like, we pay homage to loves that we like, that speak to us, like David and Patrick from Schitt's Creek. That's something to me, if I could celebrate that relationship 100 times over, I would.
100 times. That means actually whatever is going on in the society, that is actually reflected onto your shirts, and you try to put out a message rather than just do your business and that. So it's more about sending a message to have an impact on the society. And I believe, like, you also do it in a very eco-friendly way, right? You don't use a lot of toxic stuff and things like that.
No, actually, that's really important to us. So in the screen printing community, one of the inks most people use is something called plastisol, and that's horrible to the environment. And there's all sorts of correlations to cancer and the printers who use them. And there was no way we were going to do that, especially in our house. We have small children living here, so we use a permaset ink. It's vegan, it's water soluble, it's environmentally friendly, and the company that runs them is incredibly socially responsible as well. Very particular about.
So you're actually giving people a product which you can use for your family as well, right? If you're selling something to a customer, that means it has to be something which is reliable and trustworthy, right? At the same time, and people think about the quality a number of times, right? This means that if you're thinking about your family, you want the same thing for other people, right? And that is a very special thing.
I think, well, we have kids' shirts and I let our children wear them. And I think it would be a big problem if I made a product that I didn't think was safe enough for my family, but I would sell, like, we would never do that. So we've, knock wood, we've been very lucky. We've had no issues with our products, but if we ever did, we would stand behind them in any way that we possibly could to make sure that all of our customers.
So there is no compromise in quality.
100%, never.
So there was an orange shirt which said "Every child matters." Why that shirt and why that color? Tell us something about that project.
So that project we actually did, another shirt, we didn't make any money off of that. We did that in affiliation with our son's school, Alpha Alternative. And it's the orange.
Awesome.
Yes, and I'm not sure if you've heard about Orange Shirt Day, but it's related to residential schooling for Indigenous children. And the story goes, there was a child who had saved up all of his money to buy an orange shirt, an Indigenous child to wear his orange shirt on the first day of school. And when he got there, they ripped away his orange shirt and put him in a uniform. So I organized with the Alpha Alternative School, and we had a big day where I shot the screen, we brought it in, and each child got to do the pass over their own shirt. And now the school kept the shirt, and every year on Orange Shirt Day, each student gets to wear that. And again, that was a really important issue to me. And if we can do anything to keep that story alive, so we never forget what happened, and we can gently introduce to our children that that was an issue and is still an issue, I was very grateful to be a part of that project.
This one, you did it actually because you wanted to do it rather than the money part of it.
To be perfectly honest, the money part of it is almost never the main influence. Like, obviously, we have children to feed and bills to pay. But But when it comes to issues like I said, with the Few Bad Apples Murder the Innocent or the Orange Shirt Day for the kids, there's no room for us to profit off of projects like that. That's the kind of work we can do, where we can donate our time and our resources to work towards something that matters to us. So I don't think there's any room for profit when it comes to the tragedy of people.
Well, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. There was one more shirt that was keep your conversation off my body.
I think that almost everyone, and this is not gender specific because I know that men have been on the other side of this as well, but people feel very comfortable discussing issues about your body with you that I think is none of their business, whether it's that they think you're too big, or they think you're too small, or you shouldn't be wearing this, or you should have a child at this age.
Right.
You should buff up or go to the gym, or you should. And I have no idea why people feel like they have any reason to discuss someone's body like that, unless you are
true.
Right. And it kind of sets me on fire. It sets me on fire because I've seen it on every spectrum. Do you know what I mean? I've seen women be told they're too big. I've seen men be told they're too small. And I've been on the other side of it.
Yeah, different countries, different cultures, and a lot of things which I believe like we shouldn't talk about actually, when it comes to
No. So. And even compliments sometimes can be inappropriate or backhanded. Like, unless you're telling someone that you just look beautiful today, got your smile is whatever it is, unless it's coming from a place of true kindness and love, just don't talk about it. Do you know what I mean? And I've been on the other side of this. I've had like a slew of other health issues. And when I'm dealing with those health issues, I've dropped a lot of weight. And what I find amazing is when I'm at the smaller, almost sickly end of myself, people always, you look fantastic. Oh my goodness, have you? And that's not where I feel fantastic. That's where I feel sickly. And so their intention, I think, is to be kind and tell me that I look good. But to me, it was just pointing out that I was unwell at the time. I feel like that story happens to everybody on different spectrums, like you said, in different cultures, in different countries, one way or another that presents itself. So again, we did the font very deliberately. It's almost like reminiscent of a DIY Riot Girl zine font, like pasted together. Yeah, so we did that again very specifically, and that one took us a long time to conceptualize because we didn't know if we were going to draw different bodies all around the words, how we were going to do it, and we realized there was no way for us to have all the images of all the bodies that were worthwhile to talk about. So we just nixed it all, and we just kept it the font, and we used different colors so it really popped.
What type of reactions do you get from people? Because you're actually making these bold statements, right?
Yes.
On the things you sell. Because for me, it will be a very interesting thing to see and understand that how people take it, and at the same time, how do you actually deal with the whole thing?
So it's a good point that you brought up, because it's actually one of our goals is to create conversation and even controversy with some of the shirts that we're wearing. So for instance, the keep your conversation off my body, we have actually explained it to a few people. Like when I've worn it, I've had a few of our neighbors have worn it and people have seen it and asked questions about it. And most people, we're very lucky, you've had very positive reactions. They're like, that's amazing. We're so grateful. Thank you so much. I've explained what the gender binary is to 3 or 4 people just directly in my life because of the existence of that shirt. So they had no idea about it. As far as negative reactions go from wearing the shirt, we haven't had too many people say anything directly to us while wearing it. So
most of the people appreciate the work and they take it in a very positive way, right?
Yeah. One shirt that I can speak to, that I can think of very specifically relates to this, is we made a shirt that says, and it's funny because I've had friends call me and be like, I just love that shirt, but I just don't know if I can wear it. I'm afraid I'm going to get weird reactions. I just don't know. I do everything in my power to talk them into buying it, not because I want them to buy our shirt, but because if you're feeling afraid of something, you should kind of look inwards and ask what you're afraid of and face that head on. And I think you should go forward and do it. But that shirt was deliberately designed.
It has an awkward interaction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so it was something where you got a lot of reactions and while you putting up them in the market, right?
Yeah. Well, what was amazing is we did a show in Kitchener, Waterloo, and it's a smaller town. He has more of a relationship with the town there than I do. But I was kind of nervous when we went there, and it was our first time a shirt, and I looked at Rob and was like, we're never going to sell this shirt. I don't know why I made it, because people are going to think we're nuts. And then 2 women walked up and the shirt almost sold out at the show. So what I was so afraid of doing it seems there's an actual need for it in society.
It's more or less like you have your own niche, your own
Yes.
category of customers, which been thinking about products like this, but they didn't get it till now. But now you guys are like boom, boom, and boom. And this is it for you.
That's our hope, is to fill this very niche gap in fashion.
And you make something which is unique and different, right? That actually makes your brand very special.
Thank you. That's our goal.
And is there anything else you guys want to add?
At this point, I just wanted to express extreme gratitude for how the past 2 months have gone. Honestly, so before started, MyMovingParts was kind of a side project. Like, we did it as a labor of love, but we never put the effort that we've put into it in the past 2 or 3 months. Like, we came home, we decided we were going to go full force, and we're having a hard time keeping stock.
Watching a lot of growth happen, which is nice.
Yes.
Well, the growth is there because you guys have invested a lot of time in it, right? Because people may see the end results and say, oh, that's it. But it's actually still in the amount of hard work you guys have been through, right? It's a step-by-step process. And you guys have, I believe, invested a good amount of time and money into the whole thing, and resources, right? It's not just one or two things.
I'm really grateful for how well it's going and how we're reaching many different people.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great shop spree into your online business. And thank you for taking some time off and talking to us.
Really appreciate this. Thank you.